What's up, everybody? It's Kendall, and it's day 24 of 100 Days of Code. Can you believe it? 24 days in of 100 Days of Code. And today, it is awesome because on this day, we're going to remember the four rules once again of 100 Days of Code. And they are to code 1 hour a day. They're to keep ourselves accountable publicly, to connect with the community of Twitter, and to keep a daily log of our emotions and feelings. So today we were looking at, once again, the backends, looking at sort of lots of different things having to do with Node.js, with Express again, which we talked about yesterday and the day before. We'll be doing it all this week, in week 4 of School of Code. School of Code being an amazing boot camp here in the UK that brings diverse amount of talent from all over the country, no matter their age, no matter their background, and they can do boot camp for free and become software developers or go into tech of some sort of way. It's an amazing thing. So, what do we talk about today? We do this every day and we're committed to doing this every single day, talking about what we've spoken about, what we've coded, what we've done, that sort of thing, what we've learned, our emotions, our feels, all these good things. So today we spoke about things like routing APIs, application programming interfaces. How do you route these? So how do you take them and connect them to something? How could you put the roots in one file and then connect them to others? We talked about the separation of concerns into different modules. So you can actually separate those things out and manage those different things in different files and make it a better and cleaner path. We talked about practicing handling and routing queries. So, for example, if you have an array or an object in one part of in one JSON, then essentially what you can do is you can query that file by the ID, or you can even do a search on it, and you can check out that. So for example, it's full of books, the one we were looking at, then you could find the name of the book by the, for example. So you might have the name of whatever it is, the website, and it might be / and it has a question mark, and then it'll be title equals, and then it'll be whatever the word is, so the, for example, and then it will query that file, that JSON file, or that object for whatever that is, and look and then draw back a result. So that was super cool. We talked about things like sort of feeling more comfortable with sort of the syntax and sort of more about Express and sort of learning more about the capabilities of what it can do and the power of it and different things it can do. We looked more at sort of the client side versus the server side. And we also looked at things like REST APIs, so what REST actually is, and the standard that REST is. We looked at that as well, so we checked it out, and we spent sort of some of the afternoon actually looking at that. Oh, I forgot. And this morning we did some code wars. So my partner wasn't there today, so I ended up dropping in on another room because I do my boot camp via Zoom. So I dropped in another room and spent time pair programming with a couple of other fellow boot campers, and we knocked out some code wars. Had lots of fun with that, challenging ourselves, going up the levels, problem solving, honing our problem solving skills with the power of JavaScript. So that was really fun too. And then of course this afternoon we looked at REST APIs, and we looked at what REST is, and we found out that REST, that this thing is an acronym for Representational State Transfer and an Architectural Style for Distributed Hypermedia Systems. So hence it's called REST. So it was first graded in like 2000 or whatever, and it was sort of from a dissertation. And so it talks about things like uniform interface. So sort of there being a certain way of identifying resources, manipulating resources. So for example, something like whenever you access a website, for example, you will see a certain way of presenting it. And it may not necessarily even be, there was a time where URIs, they were basically, they were presented in all sorts of ways, HTTP and many, many other ways. But there was a bit of a wild, wild west. And so they needed a way to be able to unify this and be able to make it look a certain way. So there was a standard. They said, we can't keep doing this. We talked about stateless. Um, we talked about cacheable and layered systems. We talked about what resource is. Lots of different things that we looked at, which I won't go into too much in depth here because, I don't know a lot about it yet, but also it's just our brains are sort of on hyper mode from all the different things we've been learning from Express and from Node and from looking into libraries and accessing things and creating servers. And it's been a really fun day. Like, there's been lots of exercises that we've done, which have really helped solidify some of the different things that we've learned. We've really enjoyed our day. We've really enjoyed our day. We also did things like we were looking at CRUD, and my boot camp lead Liz, she spoke about, it's not the stuff that you find underneath your sofa. CRUD's an American term. It's sort of like junk or sort of stuff or rubbish or whatever. So, but CRUD isn't actually that. It's not junk under your sofa, or it's not stuff that is crammed in your trash can. No, it's not that, a rubbish bin. CRUD stands for creates, reads, update, and deletes. And so, for example, in the world of backends, that means things like, or in the world of Node, but backend mainly, you have this sort of standard way of it going through things. So, for example, a create command is something like post in the backend. Read, for example, is something like gets. Update is something like put or patch. And then there's deletes. And we looked at that as well, which is really, really cool. And it was sort of like read or get is sort of like if you went to a wardrobe and you were sort of like looking at different items in the wardrobe, and then you were to like get something out of there, you'd say, okay, I want some trousers. Post was kind of like if you needed to repair something. Delete, of course, is to throw it away. And put or patch is a sort of change from something else. So there was a lot of cool things we did in there to speak about some of those things. But the main thing is we did more than 1 hour of coding a day. I mean, we pair partnered. We were doing lots of coding, lots of sort of where one person would drive and the other person would code, and then we'd take turns. We'd push our stuff up again, and then we'd sort of take turns. So that was really fun, going back and forth with my pair partner and sort of one taking the lead, the other one taking the lead, and that's sort of, working together in that way, just learning the back end together, asking questions of one another, interacting, collaborating, and making each other better, just making each other's knowledge better, solidifying, challenging things we're not sure about. So yeah, we've had a really good rhythm. And so today, although it's felt like brain is fried and brain has been on just have piles and piles of stuff layered into the mind, it feels like just like it's just enveloped on the mind. It's been absolutely awesome, and I'd have it no other way. And you know what? I'm just excited about learning more tomorrow. It's crazy to say that because I feel like I've learned absolutely loads. And you know what? I know I've said this before, but you know what? When I look back to how much I've learned since the beginning of the boot camp, which hasn't been that long in the grand scope of things. I mean, we're almost through 4 weeks, and I feel like the amount that I know now compared to what I knew at the beginning is insane. It's insane. And I have no idea how it's even gonna go even more. Like we're just gonna, if we know this far and 4 weeks in, I can't even imagine when we're gonna be at 16 weeks. So I'm super psyched. And where we are now is amazing. The journey's been incredible, and I would recommend it to anybody. You know what? It's scary at times. You have no idea what you're doing sometimes. But do you know what? It is worth every bit of fear. It's worth every bit of doubt. It's worth every bit of imposter syndrome, because the feeling of accomplishment when you get that bit of code to work, you figure something out you solve the problem, it is dopamine times infinity. So we're loving it, and we're keeping code, We keep calm and we keep coding on, and we love it every single day. So let's keep that same energy. Guys, day 24, 100 days of code. Catch you guys tomorrow. On the flip side, see you later, guys. Until tomorrow.